Hi, thank you for joining me for this episode of The Good of Work. In this episode, I'm going to take what I learned from the interview last week that I did with Caroline, who's an experienced lace spinner, and just take you through the week of work I did to get to a finer spin. And the next segment in this episode, I'm going to show you a skein. I don't know that I explain it too well, but that's my first attempt. There's 2 attempts so far that I'm going to be featuring in this episode of The Good of Work. So I really hope you like it, and thank you again for joining me today. I really appreciate you. So this is my first skein, and I am now looking for my WPI tool, which I thought would be kind of a funny video for you to see me looking for something in all the different spots where I think it might be. With my little hardware thing, clothespins, my S-hooks. This thing comes in handy. Holder. Not. I'm too afraid to look in here, but I am going to check this. This is the box that I use when I mark my yarn. And it looks like it's in here. I used to keep it in here because I used to do WPI, but I gotta tell you, I hate doing it. I'm going to pick it back up again though. I'm going to start doing it. Here. Let's see what we have here. Crow. Ribbon, an old watch, glass cleaner. Oh my god, a picture. Me, my brother. I'm the lower right. My brother. My eldest sister Deb. She's the one that passed away. And my sister Connie. There's another one younger than me that wasn't born yet when this picture was taken. Oh my goodness. Jenny. In this fun planter, my mother collected old pottery McCoy, and this is such an awesome planter that they made with a spinning wheel and a cat and an old terrier. Is it in here? No, but I just found my massive binder clip, another thing of glass cleaner. Ooh, tapestry needle. Should probably put that in my kit. Project. Okay, we're gonna look in here. This is the end table that I used to have. It used to be our nice end table, and here is all my, I don't know, old patterns I printed. There's the manual for my Hansen spinner. Containers for needles. Oh, that hat. Oh man. It aged me. Map of Game of Thrones. When I was watching it, I couldn't keep track of anything, so I had a little cheat sheet there. Pair of mittens I made one time. I think I had to sew those and sew. I never made them again. There's my counting. Just a bunch of old needles. Lighttasca. Oh my dear, dear girl. A loop. This is awesome for real super close up looking at stuff. My old work business card. And I don't know. Golf ball? I don't golf. No idea why that would be in there. Nail polish? Yes, because that's so what I am. Ooh, hairband. Always looking for those. So anyways, yeah, it's not in here. Nothing. Here. This is another one of those planters, just a different color. Oh, look at it. It's not, it is all one piece, whereas this one's got two sections. Okay, we got glass cleaner. Oh! This is it. This is the one Rich bought me. He went to Jefferson Sheep and Wool in Wisconsin. Boy, oh boy, more than 10 years ago, and he brought this back for me as a nice gift, which I thought was really sweet. What else is in here? An old barrette that rips my hair, so I don't use it. A really old hook for my Majacraft that I should probably use. And this is just bits of paper. And an old diaper pin, because I did use cloth diapers on my firstborn. I did everything right with him, right? Cloth diapers, made baby food from scratch. And then the second one was disposable. I'm just going to put that in my scrap paper. Disposable diapers, canned food. Pacifier fell on the floor. It went back in his mouth. Alright, so I found it. Now I can go ahead with measuring my lace weight yarn. Alright, so I'm going to count the wraps easily, one of my more hated tasks, but I'm going to do it. And this gauge has, I think it's a 1/2 inch measurement here. And so I'm going to use that one. Logic is it's going to take me less time. Yeah, 1/2 inch. Alright, so here goes. And I got instructions from a couple people not to stretch it, to just do it fairly, just so that it's smooth. Because what happened, my lace weight is stretchy, which I didn't want. I wanted it to be more drapey and stuff, but it's not. Oh my gosh, I hate doing this. Okay, I'm gonna pull a little bit more out of the skein. So that it can wrap around. I have no idea how many wraps I'm going to get. Trying to decide also what I'm going to have for lunch, because I've got tons of leftovers in there. Pizza. I made homemade pizza Sunday. I've got a chicken curry, enough for one last lunch. I've got, we call it goulash, but it's just macaroni with hamburger and tomatoes. I've got some turkey, because I made a turkey dinner. I already scarfed the squash, but there is turkey in there. Okay, start from the loose end. Alright, so that's 3, 4. Switch it over. 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. This is the time when I need my cotton gloves, because my rough hands are getting the wool caught up on it. And I lost count. Oh my god. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so 10. I'm already at lace based on the 18 criteria that Carolyn told us about last week. So that was 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, this is wrapped. I didn't make it tight, but it is taut. That's 13 around the 1/2 inch. So that's 26 wraps per inch. Now if I squeeze it over, this is the thing I never really can figure out. How deep in there should you go? So like if I squeeze it over, I could probably get another 5 in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I gotta watch a video on how to use a gauge, how to correctly wrap your yarn so that it's accurately depicting what your WPI is. So yeah, so I just was able to get a few more in there. But I mean, you can see it's squishing over here, so maybe that's the guide. So it's like 20, let's say 25. Okay, I'm wrapping my second skein of Laceweight yarn for my experiment, and it's really getting irritating. It's getting caught on my little skin bits that are coming off of my fingers, so I'm gonna put my gloves on, but it's also getting caught on the little flecks of wood on my gauge, which I'm getting irritated about. So I need to get a new gauge that's smoother, maybe a plastic one, because this is just not working. And now I just lost count. Okay, Jameson and Smith, I did look at their Laceweight yarn. This is the white. And it's 25 grams. And by the way, going forward, I am going to be doing weights in grams because ounces just doesn't have the resolution. Which is 0.88185 ounces if you convert that. And it's 200 meters of yarn on this skein, and I've used a little of it, so. And 200 meters, which is 219 yards. So if I calculate that out, it's 0.0040267 ounces per yard. And I did the wraps per inch. I took a picture of it, and I got 34 WPI. Compare that with the skein that my first try, my WPI was 30, and I counted off the length using my nitty knotty, and I know what the rounds are, how many yards is in a round, one revolution. So the length on this was 117 yards, and the final weight after I washed it and dried it was 0.47. And also I did not put a weight to this one, so it's springy, as you saw in my last video. So now I'm trying to do the wraps on the second skein, which is, I can just see it's a lot finer. Alright, so I have to go back and redo this. I also need to order another gauge, and the gauge that Carolyn showed us is actually out of stock on that website, so I saw she had bought another one that I'm gonna look into, because this is just frustrating. I realize now that you really need 2 notches, one on the bottom, because if you pack it in, the 2 notches, I believe, would prevent you from being able to pack it in so that there's too much and you're getting an inaccurate WPI. So I'm just working to make sure that the line is, you know, perfectly straight coming down off the gauge. All right, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I hate doing this. 10, 11, 12. Scooch that back over. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's a little space in the top, so I'm going to keep going. Even though this is the Jameson and Smith wraps per inch. 17, 18, 19. I'm going to give myself 20 on this one. Looks like 20. And the funny thing is, you can see the wood grain through the yarn. There actually might be another one. And I just forgot the number. I think it was 20. Yes, it was 20. So I'm going to write that down. 20 wraps per inch. Alright, so now I'm going to reassemble my skein and count the number of yards, weigh it. And the other thing I want to say, this came off of a ewe. I don't know if you can see this, it's going to be backwards, but this came off a ewe that we actually sold, which I'm regretting now, which I always do. Her name was Catelyn, so that was the Game of Thrones years. 2019 is the year of the fleece. She was born on May 2nd, 2017. So I have her micron data. Now I don't know where this wool came from that I used to make these skeins. It's just in this basket, so it's not sorted, but it does appear that I'm using wool that's closer to the breech, which would be explain why I still have it, because probably the more premium stuff I would have already moved on. So with that, when I take our fiber samples, as you know, we do the mid-rib. So the fiber diameter information I'm going to share here, her average fiber diameter came back for this fleece at 22.9 with a standard deviation of 4.6. So based on the location where we took the sample, the highest micron in that sample would have been 27.5. And when we saw in Carolyn's interview, Caroline, she said that low 20s or high teens is really what you want. So I'm higher than that. Her spinning fineness, the year that this fleece was taken, was 22.2. Her lamb spinning fineness was 21.4, and it's possible that that is what the criteria was that we used to decide, because we do like to have them not increase. So she might have been the one that increased the most, which is ridiculous because it's barely 1 micron. But when you gotta pick, you gotta use all the data. Okay, so I do have on here also noted, I weighed this skein when I dried it, and I do like how it turned out. It's a lot smoother looking. It doesn't have the crinkles, and that could also be because maybe my first try I overspun a little bit. So let me get it put back together. Let me put the strands back in the ties, and I'll give it a weigh. I'll check the length, and I'll come back and give you that update. I'm inserting this picture to show you how I weighed the second Laceweight skein. So it's got a slightly full spray bottle that I just hook at the bottom of the skein. And I actually supported that with a laundry basket that I had set on top of the utility tub, just because I didn't want the yarn to get the full weight of the bottle. But when I talk about weighing the skein, this was my technique. All right, so I finished my calculations with the 2 skeins that I created using flicked locks from my ewe Catelyn, and then I also nitty-knottied up some of the Jameson and Smith yarn to get a skein so I could do some comparisons. So this is what I've come up with. So I made this chart, and it shows here the 2 attempts, my attempt number 1, the first time using the Majacraft lace kit on my rows, and the second attempt. And then I also have some information from the Jameson and Smith skein. All right, so the first thing I indicate here is the prep. So I used flicked locks for attempts number 1 and number 2. And this is what they look like. Pretty good length, nice fineness. Jameson and Smith obviously doesn't apply. Then I said, okay, I need to calculate how long the Jameson and Smith is if I look at it as just 0.01 ounces. So I did the math there. Came out to 2.48 yards per 0.01 ounces. my units are so small here because it just doesn't weigh that much. So then I said, okay, when I take a look at my 2 skeins, after I washed them, the first attempt I lost 0.03 ounces because I started with 0.5 ounces of washed flicked locks, but then I washed the yarn. So I lost a little bit of weight, and then I lost 0.02 ounces on the second attempt. And then when I weigh the Jamieson and Smith, it's 0.88 for the entire skein. Here's the yardage I calculated. For my attempt number 1, I had 117 yards. Attempt number 2, I got 136 yards, which is pretty cool. So it improved. I got longer for the same weight. The Jamieson and Smith is 219 yards. So then what I wanted to do to get them all using the same terms is I said, okay, how many ounces per yard? And just simple math yielded attempt number 1 was 0.00402 ounces per yard. The second one went in the direction I want. It went down, so it weighs less per yard. So there's less fiber in the yard, meaning then it's finer, 0.00353. The Jamieson and Smith skein came out to 0.00403 just by doing math. So there was one flaw here, and that is that my length measurement might be different from how Jamieson and Smith does it. So that's the one flaw in my calculations, the one risk element. Now I want to show you these skeins themselves. Back up here. So I just think this is remarkable. This is the Jamieson and Smith skein. It has no bounce at all, right? So that's interesting to me. And it's long, so long that I'm having a hard time getting it in the frame. So that's the Jamieson and Smith. Then there is my first attempt, which, as I said, when I dried it, I did not use a weight. And so it's got a lot of give. And the reason this bothers me is because if this is the standard for what lace weight should be like, and you're going to use this to do lace patterns out of the Jamieson and Smith publications, I don't know how well this will sub, given that it has so much bounce. And this could be because it was my first try, so it's overspun. It also could be because I did not put a weight on it when I dried it. I just dried it, free like this. So it's just really interesting to me, the difference. And then here is my second attempt at lace weight. Now this first of all, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I got better. I got better at spinning lace and more comfortable with the lace kit and how my yarn responded to it. This is the same wool, these two, first and second attempt. Second attempt does not have all of the, I don't know what you want to call it, the kind of the coiling look to it, barbed wire look or whatever you want to call it, overspun probably. But this was weighted, but still, even so, not, even if I stretch it, it's still a little shorter. Yeah, it's a little shorter than the Jamieson and Smith. So I just found that really interesting. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. One thing I was thinking I might do is I might try and weigh out 1/2 an ounce of roving from, some older stuff, different ewe than the one I used for the stuff we're looking at now, and then do 1 ounce or 1/2 an ounce of the comb top and spin those both on the lace kit and see what I get from that. So that'll be my next attempt. So I'm going to add 2 more columns, but I'd love to get any input or advice or thoughts from you guys as far as what you think is going on. If there's additional elements to this that I'm not considering. I'm going to continue to soldier on with this because I just find it really cool and neat and fun. Fully extended here, and I still have that much give with the Jameson Smith. Another thing, just so you know, is I'm going to be finishing carding the Catelyn wool. So here's some of it here. I'm going to be packing it up in 0.5 ounce packets as flicked locks, which I don't normally do. Normally I put it in a bat. And I offered this on my website so that if you would like to try this experiment with the same wool that I'm using and see how much you can get out of the yardage, I think that would be really fun. You know, the question I have is, could I get this same result with the standard bobbin, you know, the full diameter, core diameter, and the standard flyer? How much is that contributing? Ooh, that could be another column. Take this and make it with the standard flyer and standard bobbin. That's another one I'm going to do. I'm going to try that. Because I do want to see what the impact of that is. So now I have 3 more spins to do to further expand this experiment. And of course, each of these attempts, we also have to consider user error because I was new my first attempt. So we'll figure that in as well. So, love to get your feedback or input or ideas or other things you'd like to see me try as I soldier on through here. And I put the hat on because I saw the video from my last clip and was a little bit embarrassed by how gross I look, so I put the hat on. Anyways, thanks everybody. Hope you liked that and enjoyed the data. Okay, so it's 4:30 at night, and this is when I do evening chores. And we just started putting the ewes in the barn on grain in preparation for lambing. So this is one of the milestones. This is the grain that we use. It's 12% all stock sweet feed pellets, and the girls absolutely love it. They're out there screaming at me because they want to come in. That's what it looks like. A little grain pellet. Smells really good. It has like a salty taste to it. So what I do is I put out first of all I kick them out of the barn, and then I put the bins of grain on the floor, and then I let them in to eat. So here they are, and we've got 12 little feeding things. I put 1 full scoop in each, which kind of calculates out to about a cup per ewe, and I've got them sort of spread out. So now I'm gonna let them in to eat, and you'll see how excited they get because they love the grain. Goodness, girls. Oh, it's so good. You two guys got a nice big pan all to yourselves. The lambs are in here with the adults, and they don't really need the grain. It's really more for the adults, but it's not worth the effort to try and separate them. There's Itasca, like that. We started them off first 2 days we did it, I think I started them on Tuesday, was half a cup per ewe, and now they're blue sapphires, always looking for a better option. Now they're up to a cup, so. Anyway, so then once I'm done with this, I'll kick them back out, and then I'll put hay down, and then they'll be in for the night. So I'm going to be focusing on this ewe. Her name is Tovia, named after Tovia Smith, born in 2018. And she's out of Sybil and Nitro, 2 sheep that are no longer on the farm any longer. Nitro was a spotted moorit ram, and Sybil was a moorit ewe that she actually lightened up, and so we were thinking that she might be modified. But Tovia is definitely moorit, and she was bred this year to our white ram. She's got a lot of strength, don't you, honey? So I'm going to take a look at her fleece and maybe check and see if she's ruing, which I'm not going to rue her because it's too cold and still yet to be cold. But it'll be good to know if she's one that rues. Right, sweetie? Okay. Okay. Whew. Okay. So here's her fleece. I got her head over here. We had a little bit of a tussle trying to get the coat off. Lots of wool. She's got, oh wow, that feels nice. Very, very dense fleece. Does not appear to have inherited her mother's lightning. As you can see, it's quite dark. And she's got more growth to go, I think. Although that piece kind of pulled off, so who knows. Further back. And further back even still. I see that it's starting to straighten out a little. Not as crimpy. Let's go up closer to the neck. It's very pretty. Not so bad, is it? She's got nice woolly cheeks and a little bit of pole wool, which is part of the standard. You ready for some hay? I forgot to grab the fiber diameter info on her last fleece, so I'll put that up here as a caption. Let's go get some hay, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Good girl.